How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We have some massive news, and I was going to film a video later today, but there's just too much going on. I am heading to a lunch meeting that I have to be at in literally 25 minutes, so I probably won't cut. The thumbnail might be a little bit old, but I need to get this out to you because it is pretty crazy what's happening. Now, I will say there are links underneath the video to Webull and moomoo in case you want to try out some new stock platforms. I will put those underneath the video. There's also a link to the Patreon in case you want to know what I'm buying and selling. Bitcoin is doing pretty well here today. Crypto is up a little bit since touching down last night. Something that I've been paying attention to is if we hit around this $23,300 mark and then retested and then confirmed back up, I think that would be really bullish. And that's pretty much what we did. This was a prior resistance that we had seen. We fell below it for a little while, broke above it, and now we touched down to 23,250 and then bounced right back up as of now. Now, part of this is due to the insane stock market right now. I mean, we came back from 3 pretty subpar to bad earnings last night, and now stocks are up, and some stocks that were down a lot are up a lot, which we'll talk about here in a second. But first of all, some huge news coming from Elon Musk. Starting today, Twitter will share ad revenue with creators for ads that appear in their reply threads. This is pretty big. You have to be part of Twitter Blue, or you have to be verified by Twitter Blue. So you do have to pay in a little bit just to verify you. But I think this is really positive for Twitter because they'll have more people actually focusing on Twitter. Right now, it's just kind of it's a forum that people can go and spread information. They can grow their reach a little bit, but there's no ad revenue at all. So some people just don't post on there. Some people post a lot less than they would otherwise, especially if it's really supposed to be a business. And right now you could get sponsorships on Twitter, but you can't get any kind of organic ad revenue. So I think this will bring a lot of activity to Twitter. People will come on Twitter now that have never been on Twitter, or they'll focus more on Twitter, and they'll bring in more eyeballs, which I think will be really good for the long term. For the short term, it might hurt Twitter because they have to pay out some of their cash flow essentially to some of these creators, but short term doesn't really matter as much. I think long term it'll be really beneficial. Now, moving over to some stocks that are moving a lot, and then we'll come back to crypto. Like I said, the NASDAQ made a huge move. It was down 2%. I mean, there were stocks down 6-7% last night, like Google, Amazon. Apple was down 4 or 5%. Now Apple's up 4%. And just making a massive move. I sent my video earlier today, my short video, that we did have January non-farm payrolls come in higher than expected, about 3 times what we were expecting. But this might actually be positive. The market might overreact to it, but this will be positive because at this point, Jerome Powell is raising rates a little bit, and just a quarter point at a time, but he's really not looking to continue to raise rates anymore until unemployment goes higher. Like at one point he was talking about how they'll continue to raise rates if it's necessary until unemployment starts to creep up. Now he's saying that there's disinflation and the job market is still fantastic. That's what he's saying. So he didn't put in those words, but he said still a tightened labor market. But I think that's still really positive because that means that maybe he's not going to continue to raise rates, or maybe he's not going to have to continue to raise rates until the market breaks, the job market. Maybe we'll get this soft landing that they're hoping for. And right now it looks like the market is taking good news as good news again, instead of just good news as bad news and bad news as good news. Now, bad news means good news and good news means good news. And it's funny how that works in the market because just a few months ago, it was really the opposite. Like I said, Apple's up 4% here today from that. A lot of other big tech companies are starting to make a move back up too from being down a big amount. I mean, Tesla is up 5.3% today. It's up nearly 100% over the last month? And part of that is due to the Fed, but part of it's just due to their own business practices. I mean, they made a big announcement here today, or there was a big announcement that came in. But first of all, we saw just yesterday or the day before, Model Y long range estimated wait time in the US has been pushed back by up to 2 months. So they're seeing more demand. And Elon said on the call that they're seeing the order rate be about 2 times what the production rate is. There's a lot of demand right now. And now we just got news as well, just over the last, 2 hours. It looks like the EV tax credit guidelines from the IRS has been updated to raise the cap on all Model Y vehicles to $80,000. which is huge because remember, we had a couple of these, like the 5-seater, that didn't qualify for an SUV. So Tesla had to lower the cost just to get under this MSRP limit. Now, they already have lowered their vehicle prices. Some people might say it doesn't really matter because they're already under the limit, but this means that they can now raise them again. If demand goes too high, if we come out of this in this recession or whatever you want to call it, this fear of recession, and people start buying cars again and they realize, hey, this is a better vehicle, safer, faster, more fun. It's better for the environment. I can actually get a credit on my taxes for it, and it's less expensive than a lot of the other new cars that would be similar. The fact is they can start raising rates again. They can start raising the cost, which would be huge. I mean, the main reason I think Tesla has fallen down over the last, 6 months is because they had a question of demand and a question of how much people want to actually order the vehicle and whether they're going to be able to continue to scale if people don't want it. But now they're starting to see demand push up. And people were also worried about pricing power, and now they'll have even more pricing power because they don't have to hit some random number that the IRS gives us that they have to be under to get a tax credit. So now demand's inching up or exploding up, and the pricing power is coming back, which is fantastic. So Tesla's looking really good. I've been saying Tesla is my number one equity position. Bitcoin is my number one crypto position. Both are doing really well this year. Like, these are exploding, up 50% and almost 80 or 90% this year, which is awesome. Let me know if you have either of those in the comment section. Then one last thing I want to cover before just looking at the overall crypto market. A new report has come out that Celsius was using customer funds to prop up the value of their CEL token. They also used new deposits to fund customer withdrawals. Basically, it was a Ponzi scheme. This is insane. I mean, it's what we expected from some crypto projects, but Celsius seemed to be on the better side of it for a while, but now it's come out that they are literally acting as a Ponzi. That's what this is. If you use new deposits to fund other customers' withdrawals, that is a Ponzi. And they also were using customer funds to prop up their own token. Sounds pretty similar to what FTX was doing, but I just want to say, be careful going into the next bull run because we are starting to get a little bit excited. I think we can definitely trade on exchanges, and I think that makes sense. A lot of people like to trade on exchanges. You can use DEXs too, but centralized exchanges I think are okay for small trades, or if you have to keep crypto on, you can keep crypto on. It's kind of like using a public bathroom, right? You get in, you do your business, you get out. You don't sit around and wait around. You pretty much do what you have to do as quickly as possible. And that's what I think we can do. But I think we do want cold storage devices, and the main one that I use is Trezor. I'm testing out a new one called Tangem. I'll put links to both of those down below. I did a video recently where I actually froze the cards, the Tangem cards, because they're NFC crypto wallets, so you just tap them to the back of your phone. I literally froze them in a block of ice to see how durable they were because they claim that they could be frozen. They can go up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit as well. So I'll put links to both of those underneath the video. No pressure, but that is something that I think makes a lot of sense when we're still in this bear market. I think it makes sense to practice those good principles, and maybe we're coming out of the bear market and you want to start trading on leverage. A great exchange is Margex. I would highly suggest that one. And I'll leave a link to that underneath the video too. I'm not trying to leave too many links, but those are just some of the things that I use. Now, overall, I think crypto is looking pretty bullish. I mean, the last few weekends have been really great for crypto. So we might see some big moves, especially with Bitcoin bouncing off that 23,200 mark. I mean, when you look at the day chart on Bitcoin, it looks quite positive. A lot of other cryptos are moving up too. I mean, Polygon is looking great. Phantom's looking great. Ethereum's doing pretty well. If we go on the last 24 hours, a lot of cryptos are starting to run. So it's an exciting time. I think that we can make a lot of money here, but just keep your head on straight for the next downturn. We don't want to go all into the market. That's what I'm practicing right now. I don't want to make any stupid moves and think that the market's only going to go up from here. We could see some turbulence. Typically, we do see a sideways year, so keep your head on straight. It's awesome to see stocks going up and cryptos going up, but don't YOLO into the market at this point, in my opinion. But thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button underneath the video. Check out the links, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.